Welcome to Real Fellas Talk Sports. My name is Larry Abels. I'll be your host tonight, and I'm joined by the most distinguished guests of panelists. So let me introduce them to you. First, I'll start with longtime friend from the neighborhood, Charles Chuck Snowden. How you doing, Chuck?
Hey, Larry, I'm doing wonderful. Can't wait till we, get into the show a little bit this week.
And we'll go with the loquacious one from Indianapolis. How you doing, David?
I'm doing great. Getting out of Alaska here in Indianapolis. It has been unbelievably cold. You all do not know cold in DC. You truly do not.
Yes,
but I'm unthawing, and next week it's supposed to be in the 40s.
And last but not least, a frequent contributor, Andrew Stevens. Andrew, glad to have you back. How you doing?
I'm great. Hey, it's good to be among the fellas. I love being with the fellas. Let's shop it up.
Okay, it's Super Bowl week, so Patrick Lee was the first one in the chat. So
my man, Patrick, man. How you doing, Patrick?
There you go.
How you doing?
And then Mike McEady was right behind him, so I don't know who was in the chat first, but
coming after us.
Yeah.
All right now.
They're live. Okay, so this is Super Bowl week. So we'll start out with the Super Bowl, but we have a lot of stuff going. I sent out an agenda. I don't even know if we're going to get through the agenda because things have happened today. Let's start with the Super Bowl. Patriots against the Seahawks. First of all, Andrew, are you excited about this game?
A little bit. I think it's a good contrast. I think the Seahawks are the more athletic, more talented team. But the Patriots have gotten through the playoffs. They had a relatively easy regular season schedule, and I think with a young quarterback like Drake May, they're believing that they can do it all, and they have a heritage of success in that franchise. So maybe this is the start of a new dynasty, or maybe like last year, the Seahawks remind me a lot of the Eagles, and that they got great athletes, especially on defense, and they could be very tough to beat on Sunday.
So it sounds like you are a little excited about this game.
I am.
David, this game got you ready to rock and roll? I mean,
I watch every Super Bowl. I've watched 59 Super Bowls, and I'm sure you guys have too. I can't get worked up. You got two quarterbacks with a lot of question marks.
Stop it.
Hey, Chuck, give me a break. It's just, I don't know. I'll be watching. I'll be watching for the commercials as well.
Okay. Chuck, this is Super Bowl. Two teams that have somewhat of a pedigree. The Seahawks and definitely the Patriots. At least historically, they have a pedigree. Yes. You excited about this?
I'm looking forward to it, but I will admit to the group and to everyone, the star power that has been there either with Patrick Mahomes or the Eagles of late. We don't really know all of these guys, right? We don't know who Jackson Smith and Jigba is per se. We don't know those defenders on that great Patriots defense. So we'll get to know them. So that from that perspective, it's new and different, in my opinion. But it's still cool. I'm looking forward to it. Should be a good game.
Okay, Chuck. So while I had you here, what are the keys for the Patriots to win this game?
I think there's three keys, right? First of all, the quarterback is young, so he can't turn the ball over. People have been coming around his backside and knocking the ball out when he tries to throw, so he can't have any turnovers. He's got to find Steph Diggs. Why do I say Steph Diggs specifically? Because Steph has a magicalness to him. He may not get the volume amount of catches, but he gets those big catches. So he's got to find Steph Diggs, in my opinion. In the last few weeks, they haven't gotten that guy Henderson or Stevenson, the running back, Trevion Stevenson. They got to get him going. They've got to get him going. So I think those are the three keys. And they got to make some first downs, obviously. So no turnovers, get the running back going, get the ball to Diggs.
Okay. David, what do you think the Patriots got to do to win this game?
Defense. Both teams are big on defense, and defense, particularly mistake-free football by the quarterback. I agree with Chuck. He's been making a lot of turnovers in the playoffs. If he doesn't make mistakes, Patriots have a chance. And the Patriots have a history, long before this group of Patriots of playing tough defense in the Super Bowl and winning a close game. I think it's going to be a close game anyway.
Andrew, how can the Patriots win this game?
I think they need two things. Drake May has a particular skill as a quarterback. His accuracy as a quarterback in tight throws is the best in the NFL right now. He was number one in that metric in 2025. And the Seahawks, as a defensive backfield, were best against guarding against tight window throws. So I think Drake May's got to connect on those tight window throws like he has all year against a defensive secondary that is second to none in guarding receivers and defending those plays. Drake, I think it's been brought up by Charles and David, but if Drake May cannot commit turnovers, if New England commits turnovers, Drake May led the league in fumbles this past year. If he does that or throws interceptions, I think New England can't win. So those two things, I think, are the two keys for New England.
So while I got you here, let's say New England does those things well. What must Seattle do to win the game? It's considering that New England may play well.
Yeah. I mean, I think Seattle is not particularly good at running the ball. I think they've got to establish the run. They can do it. I think Sam Darnold, there's a lot of history with him not playing great in big games. And I think Sam Darnold's got to do something similar to what Drake May does, is just not turn the ball over. If Darnold makes some boneheaded plays, makes bad passes, fumbles, whatever, I think Seattle can lose and New England can steal the game. So he's got to play smart and got to play mistake free as well.
Chuck, what does Seattle have to do to win this game?
I kind of agree with Andrew. Look, and his trajectory has been positive. So Darnold can't turn the ball over. Now, David likes to say he led the league in turnovers. He had 20 of them this year, 14 interceptions. He had, 6 fumbles. He cannot turn the ball over. If he doesn't turn the ball over and get Walker going on the run game, get the ball into Jackson, Smith, and Jigba, make third downs, right? It's important that they keep drives going. You've got to make those third down plays. And then on the defensive side, they got to get off the field on third down. So the defense has to do its part. So I think those, again, the keys. I know it sounds similar to the New England thing, but the quarterback can't turn the ball over, get the ball to number 11, and get that running game going.
Same question, David. What does Seattle have to do?
It's almost a mirror of what New England has to do. Got to play good defense, and both teams have strong defenses. Mistake-free quarterback play, and I tease Chuck about Sam Darnold. Chuck has adopted Sam Darnold as a part of his family.
Really?
He's got a lot of family members in sports.
Yeah, very sure.
And I think, if Sam Darnold can play mistake-free football, and Seattle's defense, which is slightly better than New England's defense, Seattle will win a very close game. But it's a lot of question marks. And most of the questions are going to be both quarterbacks. Whichever quarterback plays the best and mistake-free, that team is likely to win.
Thank you, Mike. And thank you, Mike, about that comment. How many times does the guy have to go 14-3 for somebody to say enough? Oh, by the way, the general manager got fired. And I told David a year ago when that happened that it was the dumbest move I've seen in football.
Tone it down. Tone it down, Chuck.
Relax, Charles. It wasn't David's idea, okay, to cut Sam Darnold.
Well, that guy got fired.
Okay, all right.
Hey, Jeff, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in.
My man.
Here we go.
My brother from another mother. We've known
David
each
is
other
already
60 years.
He's already starting in on me, Jeff. He's already starting in.
I think you cut the first blood there. I think you know just to keep it real, man.
David, I had you in mind with this question. Which non-quarterback will be the most impactful player in the game?
I want to say the name right because it's easy to make a mistake. Jackson Smith and Jigma. He's just a phenomenal receiver. Phenomenal. He's one of the best receivers I've ever seen. I mean, he really is. I hope he doesn't get hurt. If Sam Darnold can get him to football, it's going to be a Seattle game.
Andrew, what non-quarterback will have the most impact?
So I want to say this name correctly. Will Campbell. Okay, he's a rookie left tackle for the New England Patriots, and he's going up against DeMarcus Lawrence. And DeMarcus Lawrence is pretty good and knows what he's doing. And Will Campbell, he's not had a good playoffs, man. He had a pretty darn good rookie year for a left tackle. He was number 4 overall pick in the first round of this year's draft, but he's still green. And if Lawrence does what he knows how to do, and there's pressure on Drake May, can fumble and throw interceptions. Will Campbell's got to guard that blind side, and if he doesn't, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be not a fun game to watch.
Chuck, same question.
We've talked
Non-quarterback.
about Diggs and we've talked about Smith and Jigba. I want to focus on the 2 tackles, 2 of them. I think it's Barmar and Williams, the 2 D tackles for the Patriots. Yeah. They are nasty and they're big and strong. Look, if the Seattle's line doesn't control the 2 of them, it could be a tough day. If they do control them via running the ball successfully, giving Darnold enough time to make plays, I think Seattle will win this thing easily. So I just keep an eye on those 2 defensive tackles for New England.
Okay. So I have a question that's come up last week. We talked on it a little bit, but I should say during the offseason, there were 10 vacancies for NFL coaches. All right. 9 of them were filled by white males, and 1 was by a Middle Eastern descent. So to start off Black History Month, 0 for 10 with the coaches. Chuck, does the NFL have a problem, or is this just an anomaly?
Well,
and wait a minute, before you answer, because something that I want to throw in the conversation.
Okay.
And it still may not change your answer, but something to keep in mind. It was one team that was horrible that probably should have fired their coach.
That's what I thought.
The New York Jets.
Oh, yeah.
And they have a black coach and they kept him. So now, does the NFL have a problem with that in mind? Part of the equation.
Clearly, there's 3 black coaches. I think, as you mentioned, Aaron Glenn and Nico Ryan down in at the Texans, and then Todd Bowles in Tampa. Yes, it's a problem. Yes, it's a shame that no African American coaches got hired in this cycle. Here's the challenge I have. I don't know how to solve it. I know that's a cheap way to say that. I don't know how to. It's a problem. They know it's a problem. Everybody knows it's a problem. How do we fix it?
So you don't think this is just one bad year? You think it's
No, I think it's a problem.
Okay. Andrew, what do you think?
So I think that it is both a problem and it is optically awful. Okay. And so the optics are obvious, but the problem is real. And groups like the Fritz Pollard Alliance have been very influential in doing something I think is important, which is to get African American tight ends coaches and special teams coaches and quarterbacks coaches to get to know owners and general managers. And I forgot what the name of that program is, like the Forward program or something like that. I think there's an awareness of the issue. And a little bit like Charles said, I don't know. I don't have an answer. I don't have an excuse. I mean, I can't do that. None of us can. But I think there is sincere intent to address this. And other than that, I can say this was a bad year on that topic. And I don't know anything more about how it will change. But I do think there are macro issues that are being addressed in terms of those up and coming coaches and getting to know decision makers. But I can't promise anything, and I can't say it doesn't suck.
David, your thoughts on this? I think you're the one that brought it to our attention as things were going.
It's a mixed issue. It's very complicated. Is it a problem? Of course it's a problem, and it angers me. But first of all, we've got to acknowledge there's a nepotism issue within the NFL, and that goes with the issue of familiarity. You've got two sets of brothers who are head coaches now. How did that happen? Because they were connected. So there's got to be more of a connection and a comfort feeling from the head coaches to the assistant coaches. That's one issue. There's got to, and if you want to be a head coach, you got to learn how to self-promote. You've got to tell them what you can do, and you've got to be. And I think African-American prospective coaches have been reluctant to promote themselves and to promote their expertise. There's one coach that really has an expertise that's been honored for years and years. Tony Dungy, for instance, he was credited with the Tampa 2. He developed the 2 defense into his own, and it elevated him as a head coach and how he was perceived. And I don't see African-American coaches, prospective coaches, doing that. Byron Leftwich, he won the Super Bowl as an offensive coordinator with Tampa Bay. He also was an offensive coordinator with Arizona. He didn't promote himself, and he's in obscurity now. He should be somewhere in the head coaching tree. Eric Bieniemy, who's back with Kansas City, never promoted himself, and I think also he didn't.
Well, what white coaches have promoted themselves?
There's a lot of self-promotion that goes on behind the scenes, and I don't see it because. Well, let me finish. Let me finish my point. My point is, you hear on TV the announcers, and you got to get to know who the journalists are, the people who are going to speak your name, and you got to get on social media. That's part of it. You've got to be a good spokesperson, because being a head coach is not just coaching the players; it's also coaching your fan base, getting them to understand that. And I think that ownership is reluctant to put African-American men in that position. But we've got to push, we as African-Americans, if I was a head coach, I'd want to push what I can do. What's my expertise? How do I be perceived as somebody that Tom Brady, who's going to love on me on air? And we don't hear that. We don't. Well, it's very rare that we hear that, and that's my answer to resolving the problem.
Yeah, I think you paint with a broad brush when you're talking about they don't push. Some people probably, different personalities probably do that. One thing that changed from the last 3 years as an outgrowth of the Rooney program. They had a program by which they were sort of encouraging diversity and meeting with the owners of the league, and they paused that last year.
Oh, did they?
Yes, they paused that coincidentally when they're trying to do a merger with Disney and ESPN. And of course, to get the merger, they've got to get the approval of the administration. The timing of that seems strange, and the fact that they paused it to reimagine it. You know, and I have a problem with if we can reimagine it while still letting it go on and just improving it. But the timing of that pausing it while the administration, where they're going through the administration trying to get this big merger, just raises a question to me.
Well, let me offer this as a way of thinking about it. There were 16, I think, 15 or 16 African-American quarterbacks this year. Some of them struggled, and some will hopefully become coaches. Most of the hires, and the glory position is the quarterback and quarterback coach, assistant coach, coming from the offensive side. We have very few head coaches coming from the offensive side. I'm trying to think of a head coach, an African-American head coach historically who came from the offensive side. Almost all of them.
Mike McDaniel is an African.
He's about the only one. He's about the only one. And
Yeah,
so if we
time seem to shift to OCs now, for sure.
well, it's been that way. And what you hear media wise, and owners listen to the media, and they listen to the fan base, and they listen to social media and read social media. And if we can get more in the pipeline, and I think it's good that there are more African-American quarterbacks, and I hope as they mature and get out and retire, that they go into coaching, because they'll have an offensive expertise, since it seems like head coaches are coming from the offensive side more often. That's something to consider.
What's up, Bob? What's up, Robert Woods?
Yeah,
How you
Robert,
doing?
how you doing?
Hey, look, there's another thing that's happening too. It seems like that most of these coaches are coming from these trees. And when I say trees, I mean the Shanahan, McVay, and Harbaugh tree, right?
Absolutely.
And part of that tree, those cats are getting jobs. And I don't. Now, Nico Ryan down in the Texans, he's from the Shanahan crew too, because he was with the 49ers previously. So I don't know if that's happening too, which is causing some problems. And in terms of assistant coaches, I think now, without doing the math or doing the checking on this, I think there's quite a few emerging in the African American coaches for the assistants position.
I think that has improved.
Yeah, I do think that, but I don't know.
But Charles, is what you're saying is, in the Shanahan tree, the McVay tree, the Harbaugh tree, those trees tend to be led by white head coaches, and their offspring tend to be white assistant coaches who become head coaches. Yeah.
I think what David said at first, that the part I would agree with is the owners becoming familiar with them.
Right.
By them pausing this program, they had an immediate effect this year.
Right.
So they might know those trees that you're mentioning, Chuck, because but as far as other people getting in there, pausing the program, nobody knows them. And as David said, being familiar with them, I think that would be a good first step.
You know what's interesting about this? We've talked about this group just in this few seconds, and we knew this question was coming. And David mentioned Byron Leftwich, but I'm struggling. Chuck is struggling with who do I think got snubbed? Because I don't know them, right? I don't know. Is it Anthony Weaver? Is it Brian?
Well,
I don't know.
Probably
it's
some
still
of the people that got hired you didn't know either.
It's still inexplicable. It's inexplicable that Byron Leftwich has not gotten a chance. It's inexplicable.
Well, you just said
he won the Super Bowl.
We don't even know where he is. Right?
He was with Colorado this year.
Okay. Well, look, we're going to move on because we're almost a half hour in here.
It's a good topic.
We're going to stick with coaches, and again, in honor of Black History Month, we're going to pivot to the NBA, where they do have Black coaches. All right. So, trivia question that I'm going to ask you guys. There have been 10 different Black coaches that have won the Coach of the Year. The question is, who was the first Black coach to win NBA Coach of the Year?
Casey Jones.
Bill Russell.
I think it was what's the guard that passed?
Sam Jones?
No. Second African American coach after Bill Russell. He
He said it. Was it KC?
No. He was not the
Jones? No.
guard, left-handed.
What,
Dick Burnett?
No.
Have we said it already? No.
No, you
Lenny
have not said-
Wilkins. Lenny Wilkins.
Okay. So the answer is Ray Scott, the Detroit Pistons, 73-74.
I missed it. I don't know Ray Scott. I'm sorry.
Okay. So who was the last black coach to win Coach of the Year?
In the NBA. In the NBA.
Yeah, in the NBA.
Was it Bickerstaff?
Oh, I know who it was.
Who
The
was it?
Toronto Raptors head
Dwayne
coach,
Casey.
Dwayne Casey, who
Dwayne
got
Casey.
fired.
Close, but no cigar.
Oh,
How about the guy? Not the guy whose wife died in a car accident.
oh yeah, from DC. He's from the DC area.
Right, but played Monty Williams.
Monty Williams.
Never won it.
So it's after Dwayne Casey. So who's been after Dwayne Casey?
It wasn't a Bickerstaff. It was.
Who was after?
And I'll give you a hint. I don't know if it'll help. This is the only coach that's won it, black coach that's won it multiple times.
Huh.
It's got to be your boy Doc Rivers.
He's won it one time, but it's not him.
Yeah. Oh.
I'll let you guys know. It was Mike Brown.
Oh yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Mike Brown has won the Coach of the Year twice.
Yep. He
Well,
won it with,
remember
he
he went to the finals with
08,
Cleveland
09, and he won it with the Kings in
just a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Mike Brown has been very successful.
Yeah.
Even though I think sometimes he's kind of made some mistakes, but he's got an overall significant winning record.
It's respected.
So here's a list in order: Ray Scott, Don Chaney, Lenny Wilkins, Chuck's favorite, Doc Rivers, Avery Johnson.
Avery Johnson.
Yep. Sam
Dallas
Mitchell.
Mavericks.
Yep. Avery with the Magic. Sam Mitchell with the Raptors. Then Mike Brown, Dwayne Casey, then Mike Brown.
Wow.
That's a good question. I
That
like
is a
that.
good question. I'm a little surprised by
Monty
that.
Williams has never won it. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I was surprised. Yeah. And one guy that I really like, and I know he's never won it, but I would say Bernie Bickerstaff has been one of the
Right. No, Bernie or JB. I mean, they both
Yeah.
had some good years.
Okay. I'm going to get to the trades that happened today in the next couple of days.
We turned up the agenda.
Yeah.
Hang it on.
I think it was 3 real significant trades. So one of them was Anthony Davis coming to DC.
Shocking.
Street clothes.
Or Andrew, you can start with that. What's your opinion on that?
So I think and this will go under the conspiracy theory. I'm sorry, but like the tanking in the NBA has gotten out of control. Okay, Lauri Markkanen missed 7 games for flu maintenance. Okay, I mean that. So I think the league has gotten involved and contacted the owners of the Jazz and the Wizards to say, if you think you're going to get away with doing for the rest of the year what you've been doing so far this year, you're wrong. We're going to fine you. We're going to embarrass you, and it's not going to be a minor thing, okay? So both the Wizards and the Jazz put their chips in to get better players now, okay? And I think both Anthony Davis is the wrong player for the Wizards to go all in on, okay? He's too injury prone. He's expecting a huge extension, okay? I don't like the player. But I do agree the time had come. So the Wizards have an enormous hole in their salary cap next year. Both McConnell was coming off and Chris Middleton was coming off, and they were going to have $60 million to spend and no one to spend it on, okay? And there is a salary floor that you have to get above. And they weren't going to be able to do it with free agents because there's no free agents who will either A, come here or worth buying. Okay, so they had to trade for some, and I think the league got involved. I think ownership, Leonsis in DC got involved, and it's time to start winning because they can't but both the Jazz and the Wizards, if their record and pick is above 8, if it's 9 or above, they lose their draft picks, both of them this year. They've been strategizing all year to make sure they were in the bottom 4, so that they can only lose 4 spots in the lottery, so they'd be in the bottom 8 among picks. And I think both teams said, you know what, F it, we can't embarrass ourselves anymore, and they went all in because the time was up. So that was a long thing, but that's my thought.
They've been tanking for a couple of years, Andrew.
I know it's time. It's time. I mean, it's exhausting. It's been time.
David, I know Anthony Davis is one of your favorite players.
Yes,
he absolutely.
And you used to live in Washington, and I know you have some affection toward the Wizards. What did you think of that?
I have
trade?
a lot of affection for the Wizards. I went to a number of Wizards games over the years. Absolutely. Anthony Davis. Oh my God. His nickname is so appropriate. If he was ever healthy, he got bird bones. If he was ever healthy, he'd be a star. I don't know how he got 10 times as an all-star. I don't get it. I don't think the Wizards are tanking per se because the Pacers are going to get the number 1 draft pick.
Wait, can I jump in on that? So
sure.
The first 4 picks in the draft are completely random. I mean, yes, they have odds, but it doesn't matter how bad your record is in the first 4 picks. It's a random weighted draw, but the weighted draw, like the worst team in the league only has a 14% chance of getting the first pick. So it doesn't matter how bad you are. The odds are you're not going to get the first pick. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you won't fall back, but so far back though.
Right. If you're the worst team, the worst you could do is 5.
Yeah.
But there's a better than 50% chance. There's like a 60% chance you'll have the number 5 pick.
What I would say to that is the NBA has already proven multiple times that they will determine through whatever means possible who the number 1 pick will be. And what
so we have 2 conspiracy theorists
Well, I want to address that because I agree largely with that. And so when I say the league came to the Wizards and the Jazz and said, you got to cop it up, they said, we're going to take care of you in the lottery this year. But if you don't play ball and get better, we're going to punish you. The 2 teams last year who tanked the most, the Wizards and the Jazz, both went down the max. They lost the max number of slots.
Yep.
The Jazz were 5, the Wizards were 6, even though the Jazz had the worst record and the Wizards had the second worst record. And the league was going to do it again because I agree with you. This is politics. This is optics. And the Wizards and Jazz can't do this anymore.
Okay, Chuck, are you a conspiracy theorist as well, or did you just have some other thoughts on this trade?
No. I just think they're poorly run. I think the Wizards are poorly run. Period. Full stop. Also, how about Dallas, right? I want to pivot a second. How about Dallas? So Dallas traded a year ago Luka Doncic for Chris Middleton and Marvin Bagley III.
Well, and 2 crappy first-round picks. I mean,
what in the world? I mean, I just think some organizations don't know what they're doing. And I think the Wizards are one of them. Look, Trey's not playing this year, right? He's injured or whatever. Anthony Davis is still out hurt. I don't know if those 2 will ever really play for us. Maybe they will. I don't know. Maybe we'll give them money and they still won't play. I don't know. I just think we don't know what we're doing. Bottom line.
I've recently been watching them, and I've been telling a lot of my friends, they actually have some young players that could play. And when they got Trae Young, I said, okay, all they need is a big man that's good. Someone that looks like Anthony Davis on paper,
right,
that actually gets to the court. So it would be good if he could actually play, but knowing his history, he's not meeting that bill. The 7-foot guy that they have, Sarr, is actually pretty good. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at if he has somebody to play with. But Anthony Davis, how often is he going to be there?
This came out of nowhere. No one was even talking about
this. No one.
So here's the thing about tanking, all right? And you guys have heard me talk about we need to get rid of the draft, get rid of all of that. The Wizards played the Kings the other night. Chuck, your buddy was here.
Yeah.
In the fourth quarter, they played the last man on their bench and 4 G League players and won the game.
Both teams were trying to lose. Both teams did I think that broke.
No, I think the Kings were just kind of like, it was the last game of it. Like,
no, the Kings have lost 9 in a row. They're trying hard to lose too.
Trip. They looked like they were ready to go home to me when I looked at them.
And listen, let me tell you, and Andrew knows this story. Let me tell you something funny about that. You just brought it up, Larry, since you brought it up. I was with Coach Woodson the night before, the day before, the whole day. And he asked me at some point during the day, he said, how many tickets do you want for the game tomorrow? And I said, Coach, I want 0 tickets. Because if you think I'm sitting through the 12 and 35 and 12 and 38 team playing each other on a Sunday night, I'm not that guy. And we both laughed about it. And he said, no, I'm not offended, but I didn't even go.
But they did play their players. Washington clearly, they had 4 guys on the G League team. The announcers are talking about, actually they were used to playing with each other, so they actually did all right. And they actually won the game, even though they almost lost it.
Well, believe me, the Kings wanted to lose as much as the Wizards.
I don't think players want to lose, Andrew.
No. I'm talking about the organization.
Yeah, but they played their players. Washington, by playing G League players, was, to me, organizationally was trying to lose.
I don't know the numbers and I don't know the specifics. I heard the Kings had some funny substitutions that night. That's what
the Kings had 2 players on that team that had 35 points or something. They
tried to come back down the stretch. They tried to come back.
I know the players play hard. I don't disagree with that. I think they want to win.
But see, when you're playing your last man and 4 G League players, it's going to be a mess.
I don't think I'm just saying the Wizards were not the only ones messing around. But I'll go look at the box score. I can't say I have that data.
No,
I hear you guys.
They just looked off that night. I mean,
I hear you guys, and I still think, even as a burgeoning conspiracy theorist, as I'm being called, the Pacers are going to get the number 1 pick.
Why?
Because at least they're doing it right.
Well, they're tanking pretty hard themselves.
They're not. Well, at least they're doing it the correct way.
The Pacers, the Nets, and the Wizards.
Did you see how many players they rested last night, David?
I've seen that. But they play hard.
Their top 7 players were rested, so I know the players play hard. But
they've had 3 games back to back.
Yeah, when Benedict Matherin's like 24 years old, 25 years old, when he takes a rest day, that doesn't make any sense.
He's injury prone. He's been injured most of the season.
We're gonna move on to another trade. Harden and Garland. Harden goes to Cleveland. Garland goes to the Clippers. Actually, that trade on the surface it seems like a pretty even trade. Chuck, you got a thought on that?
Yeah, I do. Why would any owner put money in James Harden? Because all he's ever done, and I can walk you through Houston, Philadelphia, the Nets, the Clippers, he just quits on you when he wants to quit. And I don't know why you would change a young point guard for an old point guard on a guy who will quit on you. I don't know why you would touch him.
When you say quit, what do you mean?
That means he'll quit. He'll say, I don't, like he just did on the Clippers.
Oh, like he wants. Oh yeah, when his contract's up, he wants to move. Yeah.
He quit on the Rockets. He quit on the Nets. He quit on the 76ers. He did not quit on the Clippers, but
he just did.
He has a history of ugly exits.
Well, he just
did the same thing to the Clippers once he gets to the end of his contract.
Well, hold on. The quit
was big money.
The last 21 games, the Clippers are 17-4. Kawhi's playing well. They're playing good. And he says, I want
James Harden.
He did not sabotage the Clippers. He sabotaged the Rockets.
James Harden doesn't care about anybody but himself.
James
sabotaged the Nets. Okay, he's done so much worse at other places. Your point is still way valid.
Exactly. And the reason why he engineered this is because the Clippers said, we're not going to give you $80 million.
He wants to get
2 years at $40 million. And they said, no, we're not going to do that.
Well, let's call him a realist. Let's call him a realist on that level.
By the way, ironically, the Clippers and the Cavs play tonight.
Can't wait.
Now, I mean, Harden's probably not going to play tonight. Right. And neither's the other guy.
Yeah,
but the fact that the teams are facing each other tonight, be a lot of discussion about that. So it'll be interesting, and I'm going to watch and see what the announcers say.
I think Cleveland got sick and tired of Garland being hurt all the time. To be honest,
Yeah, but
because they also did another trade earlier. They did DeAndre Hunter. They had DeAndre Hunter on that team.
That was
that trade.
That was it. They saved $50 million under the cap and tax with just getting rid of DeAndre Hunter. Keon Clark can do almost exactly what Hunter can do. That was a money saving trade. You know, Cleveland has the highest payroll in the NBA this year. I mean that they are paying more than anyone else in the league, and that's saying quite a bit. But Larry, I do want to address your question. Why did this trade happen from a Cleveland perspective? And the reason this trade happened, Harden for Garland, is because Donovan Mitchell is going to have one more year after this season. Donovan Mitchell will have one more year. Okay, they are scared to death that he will not extend or even demand a trade this summer. And one thing, I don't think Donovan Mitchell specifically articulated that it would be James Harden for Garland, but he said, I want changes. We're not. He did say, his people said to Cleveland, we got to go for it now because what we're doing is not working. And he's right. He's absolutely right. What Cleveland had been doing isn't working. Okay, this may not be the best in their best interest long term as a franchise, but in terms of keeping Mitchell happy for this year and next year, they had to do it, and that's why they did it.
Well, I think they've had problems this year, Andrew, with it not working. But last year they did very well. I mean,
they didn't do well in the playoffs. They did
young team getting there for the first time.
Garland missed 4 playoff games. That's too many.
Yeah. I mean, that makes a difference.
It does make a difference, but him it's like Anthony Davis. Him missing games isn't a random sort of let's just see if it never happens anymore. No, we know who he is. We know who Anthony Davis is. They're gonna miss games.
Garland really, well, he got hurt last year, and he's been hurt this year. So
right,
this is like his
he gets hurt a lot. He's always hurt. I mean, there's no question. That toe thing, that turf toe, whatever he has, that can be with you for your entire career.
Larry, Andrew's a Vanderbilt graduate, and he went to Vanderbilt. Garland, he knows.
How many games did Garland play for Vanderbilt, Charles?
Not many.
Well, they had some of their big men got hurt last year in the playoffs too.
And the Pacers played great that series. They played great that series.
Okay.
No, but I think Harden. One thing about him, Harden is a great passer, and his problem has been scoring in the playoffs.
Right.
And if he has Donovan Mitchell on that team, it might not be an issue with that.
His problem in the playoffs is he shuts down. He's scared. He sometimes shoot less than 10 shots in games. He's a very poor playoff player.
He is.
He passes well, and when he has Donovan Mitchell on his team, they might not be as reliant on him to shoot the ball.
Here's what happens in the playoff with Harden. Harden is a ball-dominant player. He has to be on ball. And when he's off ball, meaning when he's supposed to move in space, when he is supposed to cut, when he is supposed to find spacing that lets other people get open and get him open, he doesn't do it. He can't do it. And in a playoff game where they've studied you and they play you 7 games in a row, he's too predictable and easy to beat. And that's why he can't play in the playoffs. You can double him when he's on ball, and when he gets rid of the ball, he is the most ineffective player in the NBA.
Well, that also does not explain sometimes taking less than 10 shots when he takes.
Well, they know if they can force him, they double him, they can force him to give up the ball, and once the ball's out of his hands, he can't move. He doesn't move. He doesn't go to the open space. He does not know where to do or what to do. He doesn't set picks. He just as like a reef. He won't do it. He can't do it.
How many years has he been in the league? 16.
A long time.
And a terrible playoff player every year.
I think he's 36.
Yeah,
I think 16 or 17 seasons.
But I keep saying, and for this team, they don't need him necessarily to shoot the ball. They got somebody else they can give it to.
So Larry, from Cleveland's perspective, you like the trade?
Mainly because like Andrew's saying, the turf toe seems to have knocked Garland out. They had a couple of their big men got hurt in the playoffs too last year. And
Jared Allen,
that just killed them. So they got it, and Harden usually plays. That's one thing. You guys have heard me rant about NBA players not playing. He usually plays. I got to give that to him.
Well, he's on the court.
He's the last American to win the MVP of the league.
That's a good stat. That would be a good trivia.
You'll never get me to embrace James Harden.
That's a good trivia question.
Where will John Morant end up? Andrew, we'll start with you. Where will he end up? And do you think he'll ever live up to what his billing was?
So I'm going to use a word orthopedically. Okay. Orthopedically, John Morant has weaknesses. Okay. He's had major shoulder injuries, major hip injuries, and major elbow injuries. When he falls, major pieces of his bone structure fall apart. Okay. Physically, he does not have the same explosiveness. Okay. His numbers in terms of getting to the rim and closing at the rim are drastically different than they were his first and second year. He's not the same player. And yes, he's lost a lot of confidence. And yes, he has some off the court stuff that has, shadowed his career and his star. It's dimmed his star a little bit. I think he's going to get traded, and it's going to be sort of like we saw with Trae Young and Anthony Davis. He's going to get traded for peanuts. Okay. And it's going to surprise people who haven't been watching. Okay. But when the Memphis Grizzlies traded Desmond Bane to the Magic, and when they traded JJJ to the Jazz, they got a lot of first-round picks. They got more picks than they can do anything with. So that has lowered the price for John Morant, and that has given me a certain amount of confidence that the deal will get done. And we're all, I think all of us will be surprised.
Well, who's going to deal for him?
Well, I mean, look, the Wizards are due for anybody right now. So
I know Sacramento is talking to him.
Well, David, let's go to you. Where is he going to end up?
I don't know, and I wouldn't touch him. There's so much baggage. It's not the play on the court. And I hear you, Andrew. He's often injured. I agree with that, but it's the baggage he brings to a team. He's a disruptor. He's a coach killer. He's a team camaraderie killer, and I wouldn't want him. And if the Pacers ever talked, I'd be so angry that if he ever came to the Pacers, because he'd disrupt the team chemistry.
Chuck, what do you think about it?
I know Sacramento is talking to him. I think, but Sacramento would like to get R.J. Barrett and Quigley from Toronto for Sabonis. So that's where their focus is. They would love to get Sabonis out to Toronto and then get R.J. Barrett and Quigley. And so stay tuned there. They're talking to Ja, but they don't really, for all the things you guys are saying, mostly not the off the court as much. He can't play like he used to play. He's not that good anymore. That's
the question. You don't think he'll live up to his billing?
No. Okay. I think we've seen the best of Ja. I will say this though: if teams knew that Jackson or
JJJ.
Jaren Jackson Jr. If people knew he was available, I don't know why there would have been more play for him, because I think he's a player.
Yeah, he's actually. I'm kind of surprised Memphis got rid of him.
Yeah,
he was like a very constant for them.
They're trying to rebuild. They're rebuilding. And
I understand that, but he's the type of guy that, he can play.
He's a great player. He's a great player.
They've gotten rid of Baines. What's the other guy? Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks. Yeah.
And I mean, and those
guys are good. And Dylan is having a good year with Phoenix.
Dylan is a floor raiser. Okay, if you want to get better and want everyone to hate you, get Dylan Brooks on your team.
But I thought they had an effective team, and those guys, none of them are that old.
But they weren't
going to get one to me that wasn't. I think the other ones would certainly given them what they expected. Ja was the one that hasn't been there. Now, I guess it's been a couple of years since he's been suspended for significant games, but he does seem to be hurt. And I think by going to the whole with reckless abandon, I think most people, after they get knocked down a few times, sort of change their style. But I don't know, something has to happen with him. I would take a chance on him if I could get him for the right price.
I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch him or Trae Young or Anthony Davis, because guys are injury prone their first 10 years, stay injury prone forever.
Especially a small guard that, And and plus he's not a traditional kind of player anyway. You know, he's an explosive player, and he's lost that.
He's a modern day Allen Iverson, except Allen Iverson didn't get hurt.
Right.
Well, he played through it. He just his body could take it, so to speak.
Maybe Allen Iverson was a football player too.
He was a football player. What'd you say, Larry?
NBA players used to play games. Remember, I was ranting about that last week after the show. Now, see, I don't know how hurt they are, but it seems like an awful lot of them are out. Okay, I'm going to switch over to NCAA sports. Just a couple of things. 2 basketball players.
No mention. Okay, go ahead. Uh-oh. Did you freeze?
He's having an emotional moment. He's getting choked up.
Am I frozen? No.
Basketball.
One guy played maybe 10 games or something like that.
You start that over, Larry. I think you froze for a second.
Are you in Costa Rica,
Larry?
Okay, hold on. Go ahead, Larry.
Okay. There are 2 guys that signed NBA contracts that want to come back and play college basketball.
Yeah.
One of them played in the G League. One of them actually played 10 NBA games.
Yeah.
I want to get you guys' take on how do you feel about guys coming back? And you know, one of the arguments I heard kind of made sense to me, but one guy said I would only be a college junior or something like that. It's not like I'm 28 years old, you know, playing. Do you guys think that it's okay to come back after signing a pro contract, particularly if you only played in the G League or only played 10 games? Andrew, I'll start with you.
Yeah. So the idea that college players are amateurs is an idea that is not consistent with reality. College players get paid to play basketball, and pro basketball players get paid to play basketball. So the idea that being on one level might preclude one from being able to play on what might be considered the lower level, when both players are getting both sets of players are totally on the books, totally legally within the rules, able to get paid a lot of money. Okay, so no, I don't have a problem. They're both college and pro players are professional athletes.
The G League doesn't pay nearly as much as NIL.
Right. No, I don't disagree with that, but that even buttresses my point, which is these guys are mostly G League players, but they see an opportunity to make more money in the United States of America. If you can make more money doing the same job, why would I not allow you to do that?
Dave, how do you feel about it? And not all college players make money.
Wait. D1, like Power 4 players make money, and that's what these guys are. They're not going to Slippery Rock. Okay.
When I say make money, I'm talking about like NBA money. Some of them will make big money.
Well, they might not make NBA money, but they're making more than G League money.
The G League pays less than I don't know the exact number, but it's significantly less than a top level NIL player. Significantly less.
Right.
Same reason why that quarterback for Ole Miss wants to stay and play another season. He's going to get a $6 million deal for NIL if the courts allow that, as opposed to being maybe a first, but probably second or third round.
The Oregon quarterback, David. The Oregon quarterback is coming back this year too, and he was going to be. He
played a poor championship, a poor playoff game.
We're going to get to football in a second. We're back to the issue at hand. So, David, how do you feel about Andrew? You feel like they should
be allowed to do it. They're all pros. Okay. They're all.
What do you think, David?
Why not? Why not?
Chuck,
I feel the same way. The rules are changing right as we speak. The rules are changing. The game is changing. College players are professional. They're getting paid. If they can go back and finish up their degrees and still contribute because the competition isn't as great as in the league, if these guys, I don't care. I don't have a problem with it. I just don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I kind of think I don't have a problem with it either. And, you know, I think for years, if you played in a European league, you could come and play in college if you chose to, regardless of being a pro, because I guess the U.S., we're so arrogant that we're automatically the best. Well, we used to be. We haven't had an MVP for the last 7 to 8 years. So, and a lot of European players had that, at least the offer to do that. Most of them went straight to the NBA. Okay, the other thing I was going to ask you guys about, a couple of weeks ago, Duke sued their quarterback for, he wanted to transfer to Miami. So he entered in the transfer portal and they sued him. What was really bothering me about that was before 2026, which just started when they sued him, the schools weren't technically allowed to give the person money. They could only get it from advertisers and things like that. So it bothered me. How could he have entered into agreement with Duke that he could be sued for when 2026 just started?
Well, he signed a multi-year deal. It was a multi-year NIL deal.
With who?
With Duke, with the collective, okay, through the football program, but it wasn't with the university, which I think my point is, and your point probably is, these things need to be standardized because most NIL deals are not multi-years, but his was. That was the contract.
That's the problem with NIL.
It wasn't with Duke, that's the point I'm having.
It was with the coaching staff.
Well,
okay, through the collective.
The collective.
But a contract's a contract. It doesn't.
The collectives have never been standard.
Andrew,
they've never been standard.
I understand contracts. The thing that I'm talking about is until 2026, the schools weren't allowed to have a deal directly.
No, but it wasn't with Duke. It was
Duke is suing him. Duke sued him.
Well, that's okay. My point. But a party on behalf of Duke signed him. Whether it's the party or Duke who sues him is immaterial, really.
I disagree.
Well, I mean, so they were acting on behalf of Duke. And stipulating that he would play for Duke, even if it wasn't Duke who the money was coming from. The
collectives are a sham.
They are.
The collectives are a silent partner to the school.
Right.
And it's a wild west circumstance.
I agree with that
completely unregulated.
Correct.
Completely
it needs to be standardized, and there needs to be collective bargaining, okay, that brings a certain fairness and sensibility to it. But his NIL deal was different than 99% of them in that it was a multi-year NIL deal.
No, I understand that. And my whole point is the people that signed him to the multi-year NIL, that should have been a party named in the suit. It was Duke versus this guy. And that's what threw me. And of course, all these collectives are doing it on behalf of the school. I mean, I know that.
Right.
But I just thought it was strange that Duke actually sued them. And they just got the right. Maybe they took over the contract with Jerry.
Yeah, I was going to say there can be counterparties like where they say, "Oh, I'm doing this on behalf." I mean, that's they negotiated something pretty quickly because it was clear that this wasn't worthy of a legal fight, and the semantics weren't that important.
You can take all these colleges and every NIL deal and partnership with a collective is completely different. There's no standardization at all.
So here's the question. If a coach has a multi-year deal with a school and they want to leave, there's no problem with them leaving.
Well, actually, that's not true. So they have buyouts now. Like a coach has his coach and usually it's through the school that is going to hire him next. They have to pay back money.
But they won't get sued for saying they want to leave.
Well, because that's abiding by the terms of the contract, you see. So it's the problem was he didn't abide by the terms of the contract. That's why a suit had to be involved. If there is a payback involved and the coach and his next employer abide by that, they're not in breach of the contract.
Yeah, I guess they resolved it because I don't think. Right. I don't think the school really wanted to go to court behind that. But I just thought that was ugly.
Well, they had the goods, right? I mean, they got their money paid back by Miami.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's just like a buyout with a coach.
Exactly. It worked the same way.
I just thought that was crazy. Chuck.
I didn't know I have to have a law degree to be on this show.
You got good common sense.
Charles, are you telling me you don't have a law degree? I thought you did have a law degree. No?
barely have a business degree.
I just thought it was strange because most of the time, if you want to leave, you have a multi-year deal. You don't fill out the contract. They pay you for the time that you were there, and then if you want to do a buyout, the gaining person would do that. And I have to look at the particulars of that contract. But the fact that Duke was suing him is what really set me off. I'm like, you're not even supposed to be involved with them at that time.
Well, they resolved it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And you know what's interesting? I think what's interesting too, it's a lot of this stuff is going on because they're like writing the rules as they drive the car or whatever that phrase is, and then you don't hear that much. You don't hear that much nonsense going on. Like this player is screwed. It's working pretty good. It seems to me.
It's not working well. So did you hear about? Yeah, they need to standardize things. There needs to be collective bargaining and standardization, and these kind of clauses and buybacks have to be more clearly articulated, because clearly in this case, the buyback wasn't clearly articulated, and the options the player might have weren't clearly articulated. And that's what made it actionable.
Yeah,
all these players have agents now.
I know.
And they should.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought and I guess he went to Miami, so maybe a conference school was probably the thing that was getting him to do the most.
That used to be a real deal, because it used to be you had to sit out 1 year if you transferred, 2 years if you transferred within the conference.
Yeah.
And that when you see Lane Kiffin taking all the players from Mississippi to LSU and no one's having to sit out at all, you can understand why the issue gets emotionally.
Well, that happened in Indiana.
13 of them from James.
Okay,
Brown.
so we're going to wrap this up. This is the last time you get to say this publicly, at least on this show. Who wins the Super Bowl? Andrew.
Seattle.
Chuck.
Seattle.
David.
On paper, Seattle, but in reality, it could be New England by 3. Whichever team wins, it's going to be a close game, 3 points at maximum.
Well, wait a minute, David. So
what about on the field? Who's going to win this game?
Well, last week I said it was Seattle, but I'm not so sure.
Okay, that's why I was giving people one last chance to change their thing. So Seattle or New England, David? You're on the clock.
I'll say New England.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Seattle.
Suppose Sam Darnold wins the MVP in the Super Bowl. Wow.
Well, let me just say this. Didn't Doug Williams
win the
my
MVP? Buddy Mark Downs. Hi, Mark. Thanks for joining us.
What's up, Mark?
At 8 o'clock.
Didn't Doug Williams win the MVP? And what happened to his career? Did Mark Rippon win the MVP? What happened to his career? See, so it's no guarantee. There's no guarantee.
Mark said he got here late. Okay, it's time for closing comments. Andrew, do you have any?
One thing, Washington Post lost its soul today. And I got to tell you, I'm not mad at Jeff Bezos, because for a newspaper to be viable, it has to be able to sustain itself. It can't rely on the generosity of billionaires. I'm not sure why that guy bought the Post, and I think he should sell the Post. And today is a very sad day, but the larger reason is because Americans want the news fed to them in the way that will match what they already believe. And that's the reason newspapers are failing and the Post is failing. And that is very sad. It's tragic.
It is sad losing that sports section. That makes us almost like a non-major league city. And we have plenty of teams here. So
yeah, we just Richmond. Yeah.
Any closing comments?
I do have a closing comment, and it's on flag football. I watched the Pro Bowl last night, and I've never seen NFL players so enthused and wanting to win. And it was relatively safe, and it's something that's spreading. Flag football is growing. Men and women are playing the game, and flag football will be an Olympic sport in 2 years. Bravo to the Pro Bowl, because the Pro Bowl is the way to play football after the season, and safe.
I was telling you earlier, I was watching basketball and I got a alert saying that Justin Jefferson had done some big play. And I'm like, what's he doing playing today? The season's over. And then all of a sudden, I flipped over and saw a couple of plays there. It did look pretty good. Chuck, any closing comments?
Yeah, I'm just mind just real quick. So listen, the Winter Olympics, they open on Friday, right? I'm gonna tune into some of it, and I'll tell you who I'm gonna focus on. We just talked about how NBA players don't play all the games and this and that, and they get paid handsomely. Lindsey Vonn, who I've seen over her career take a brutal beating and breaking bones and so forth and so on. She tore her ACL in a practice run the other day, and she said in front of the mic, I'll be there on Friday. Don't even worry about it. I'm going to do it with my torn ACL. So I'm going to check her out, and I'll look out some of the Winter Olympics. I just wanted to shout out the Winter Olympics, which starts this weekend.
All right. I don't have a closing comment, but Andrew, I just want to thank you for coming on this week. It's always good to have you on here, and it's good. Mark, that's what I was thinking about. Thanks for saying that. And David has told me earlier. That's the play that I missed when I got the alert with.
Jamar Chase pick six.
Well, I got an alert on my phone while I was watching a basketball game, and I was wondering what he was doing playing. So I had to flip over for a second, and then I saw some of the stuff David was talking about. So that's it. Thanks for all our viewers and our comments. We appreciate everybody tuning in, and we can tune in
especially Mark. Larry, I want to talk to you about Mark offline because
you know Mark and I go way back, man.
I know. I just want to see if he was as bright with you as he is with me. So we'll talk about that.
I got nothing but love for the brother. I'll tell you that. Okay, everybody, take care. We'll see you next week. Who's hosting next week?
Thank you, Andrew.
David, are you hosting next week?
I'm hosting next week.
All right, so you'll get David Burnett's fabulous show next week. Take care, everyone.
Go Seattle.
Fabulous.